Family would put that food in a saucer that they suspended from the ceiling. Again, I have to presume that there was a knothole or some kind of gap in the ceiling for Jeff to come through to get it.
Yeah.
But Jeff would only do it when he thought that nobody was watching, so they never knew when the food disappeared. None of the adults in the family ever saw Jeff. Only the daughter, Voire. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Just call her V.
V said that she saw Jeff only when he wanted to be seen, and that Jeff was about the size of a small rat with yellowish fur and a large bushy tail, which sounds like a squirrel to me.
Yeah.
Funny looking squirrel. But, Jeff, as we alluded to earlier, became pretty popular in the tabloids. Journalists and other people from everywhere came to the house to try to investigate and discover what Jeff was. Nobody could ever hear Jeff. Nobody ever saw Jeff. There were claims of people who said they saw Jeff, but those were unsubstantiated. There were prints on the walls of the inside of the house, as well as hair that were left around that they claimed was from Jeff.
Oh, like fur?
Yeah.
Okay.
It turned out it was from the family sheepdog, both the muddy prints and the hair. So we've got nothing substantial there. This is where the story kind of takes its sad turn, is that James died, and his wife Margaret and their daughter had to leave the home in 1945. And Jeff didn't go with them. They had to sell the farm, from what I can tell, at a pretty hefty loss. Because of Jeff, it was considered haunted, so nobody wanted to pay good money for it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jeff is not exactly an unfriendly ghost, though, really.
No, seems pretty nice.
Seems like a nice little critter.
He's got some kind of jerkish behavior that we'll talk about here momentarily.
Oh, okay.
The person who bought the house was a farmer by the name of Leslie Graham, and Leslie Graham claimed to have shot and killed Jeff.
Aw.
Jerk.
Yeah. Once again, the creature that he displayed was pretty large and had black and white fur and didn't match the descriptions of Jeff. And V. Irvington, as we're going to call her from now, was certain that... What did I say? Irving. Sorry. She was certain that it was not Jeff. She did pass away back in 2005. And she was pretty hesitant to talk about Jeff for a lot of that time, but she said that she didn't make Jeff up, and she was positive Jeff was real.
Well, it sounds like Leslie may have killed like a skunk or something.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought. Or a big rat or something.
Well, if it was black and white, I would presume. I mean, mongooses don't come in that color. They're
brown.
Brown or like
yeah.
yellowy brown, not black and white. So certainly it wasn't a mongoose.
No.
Whatever it was.
Couldn't have been a mongoose that he got.
No.
Let's move to the theories.
Okay.
So theory number one is that Jeff was a poltergeist, which kind of makes sense.
Okay.
As Joe said earlier, kind of a friendly ghost.
I thought poltergeists were always kind of jerks, though.
Well,
They're
okay, not a
mischievous.
poltergeist, a ghost. An actual ghost, as Jeff claimed. So let's run with that theory.
Okay.
Only wanted to be seen, or could only be seen when wanted to be seen. That's kind of a ghostish thing. Could talk to people, kind of a ghostish thing. Here's where some of the jerky behavior comes from. Could throw rocks.
Oh.
Yeah, it turned out Jeff didn't like Margaret, the mom, very much. And when they would go out on walks, because they would go on walks to town or whatnot, Jeff would run along and chatter at them or to them while in the bushes, but never in plain sight. But occasionally, Margaret would be out there and Jeff would throw stones at her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not that nice.
Can ghosts do that?
Well, that's why I kind of went with the poltergeist angle, is that
Poltergeist can.
poltergeists are supposed to be able to do that.
But can a poltergeist be mobile, though? Or is he like pinned to the house that he inhabits?
That really depends on who you ask and the situation. Because I've seen stuff about they followed me to the market, and I don't know. I can't corroberate any of that.
There are some poltergeists who reportedly follow objects or people, right, from house to house to house. But you would presume that if Jeff was a poltergeist and was following Margaret or or somebody, that he would have gone to the next house with them.
Yeah.
Who knows why, what?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, but Jeff got up to some pretty prankish behavior, which is also a poltergeist thing.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, would throw sand at the windows, and would also in the middle of the night decide to sing songs, sometimes bawdy songs, and would just sing them out loud for the whole family, which is great when you got a 13-year-old girl in the house. You're trying to protect her.
Yeah, well.
But hey, what do I know?
She's got to learn sometime.
Exactly.
May as well be from that weird poltergeist that you have that's also a mongoose, maybe.
Yeah. Could be, it's just been what's the word I'm thinking of? He's been inhabited by like a demon or something like that.
So a ghost possessed by a demon?
He's been possessed by,
Or a real mongoose
A mongoose possessed by a demon.
I don't know. I mean, that's territory we haven't ever really gone into, so I don't...
We're going into it now.
Our next theory is that Jeff really was a mongoose who was actually extra, extra clever. It turns out mongoose were imported to the area...
Is it mongoose or mongoose?
Okay, mongoose.
Okay. All right.
Mongoose, the plural of mongoose.
I don't think that's right.
Is it mongooses?
I'm not using English today. The mongoose were brought to the Isle of Man about 20 years earlier. And there's not a lot of sources that I could find about when exactly they were imported. I really only found that date on one site.
Okay.
And this happened in a number of places. Is they would bring them in an attempt to control rats, because they're kind of like ferrets. They're the same builds. You bring them in to try to kill all the rats. Well, turns out that a mongoose isn't all that excited to kill a rat if it's not starving. So they didn't work. They went and ate other stuff.
Sure.
But
they're good at killing snakes.
They are, and they're from the lower 2/3. You can find mongoose in the lower 2/3 of Africa, in the lower band of Asia. And as Joe had talked about with the snake things, people had been training them for years to fight snakes.
Actually, I don't think you even need to train them. I think they just know how to do it.
Well,
go ahead.
Mongoose, however we're saying it today. The way that they survive is they, what's the nice way of saying it is they're quote unquote scavengers in real life. So they actually eat reptile eggs. Often that's one of their main sources of food, and so they have to be good at fighting off the parent of said nest. In case the parent comes back and it's like, hey, wait, maybe don't eat my unborn egglings.
Have you ever seen a mongoose and a cobra fight?
No, because I don't like animal cruelty.
No, I know it is cruel. And I just saw a little brief clip of it one time. They put them in an aquarium together. And the cobra, rears up and everything, and just strikes at the mongoose, and just instantaneously the mongoose was in the air, over the top of the cobra, came down on top of him, bam, that was it for the cobra.
Really?
Yeah,
they're quick. They're very clever.
Yeah,
they are clever, and so it's possible that somebody had one and was training it for, I don't know, some kind of goofy act or something, and then it got loose. Now, how Jeff was able to talk, I can't say, but the presence of the mongoose could be explained through that. That's very far-fetched. I understand that.
Well, I don't know. There are dogs that can talk. I mean, you see those videos online. I mean, they're not actually talking, right? They just have figured out how to howl in a certain way or, vocalize in a certain way that sounds kind of like talking. So, I don't know.
Could be interpretation of noises that were made. And
what
one
about
of them's going, oh, well, Jeff just said this.
How about that singing and dancing frog in that cartoon?
That's real, right?
Yeah, totally real.
Totally real.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Let's move to our next theory that I found out there, which is that Jeff the Talking Mongoose was just a little girl's fantasy and or a dad's plan to entertain his daughter.
I don't like this theory.
Why?
Well, because I don't know. I think
You like this story a lot.
I think Jeff's real. I mean,
Well, can I tell everybody the theory?
I guess.
Okay. This family lived out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I believe the town near where they were, it was Darby or Dalby. I somehow don't have it here in my notes, which is shocking. But they didn't have electricity. They didn't have a phone or a radio. All they had for entertainment, besides the tiresome company of each other, was the gramophone, so they could listen to records. That was it. They had nothing to entertain themselves in the downtime. So to me, it seems quite plausible that the dad did this as a way to entertain his daughter and give her some fun, and then she really took on, or she did it as a way, because according to some, she was a bit of a ventriloquist, so she was throwing her voice to play, and everybody just got on board because it was a fun family game.
Except for the rocks.
Except for the rocks.
Yeah, and the sand and the sing-song, right?
And the body, yeah. Where did this little 13-year-old girl learn the dirty songs?
Yeah.
It's England.
Oh, that's a good point.
Well,
Probably learned them out at the pub.
She was down at the pub and met a sailor.
Yeah.
That didn't come out right. But, yeah, I mean, the thing is that it doesn't matter which one of these theories it is, because, like I said before, people came and stayed with them for weeks on end, and they got absolutely nothing. People were investigating it, trying to figure out who Jeff was or what Jeff was, and nothing happened.
I don't feel like that proves anything, though. I mean, if I were a poltergeist, right, I wouldn't necessarily act up when my family wasn't around. If the whole point was to play with these people.
Why show off for somebody new?
Really?
Well, exactly.
But also, you just are corroborating these people's story, and why would you do them that favor?
Exactly. It's actually much more fun to have them out there being made fools of.
Yes.
That's kind of devious and extra clever.
See?
All right.
But also, Jeff may have realized that if he showed himself to the rest of the world and proved his existence, then sooner or later, somebody from the circus or something is going to come down and make an offer and buy him, and he's not going to be his own man anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
but we have some
we do.
good evidence here, right?
So here's the deal. Here's where we get to that good